Aspira Women's Health is transforming women's gynecological health with discovery, development, and commercialization of innovative testing options for women, starting with ovarian cancer. With me is the President and CEO, Nicole Sandford. Great to have you back here. Michelle Snider, a Senior Vice President, Commercial Strategy and Operations, and Lottie Wilder, Market Development Manager and patient as well.
Yes.
So, Nicole, let's start with, it's been a few months since we talked. Bring me up to date on what's going on with Aspira.
Sure. Well, it's great to be back. Been a very busy time at Aspira. The most exciting development that we had is that we completed the clinical study for our OverWatch longitudinal monitoring test expansion. So OverWatch, as you recall, was the test we launched in 2022 for initial clinical assessment for women that were diagnosed with an adnexal mass. Very high negative predictive value, 99% negative predictive value, and a personalized risk score that basically would help a woman who is diagnosed with an adnexal mass understand the true risk of a malignancy and help her and her clinician work together to determine the appropriate path of treatment. The longitudinal monitoring study will allow us to help doctors use that test to monitor the mass on an ongoing basis. So in addition to being available for initial assessment, it will also be a tool they can go back to as they take a clinical approach to managing the risk for that mass, which is very exciting not only for the patient but for Aspira, as it will take the addressable market for that particular test from about 1 million or so, 1 million to 1.5 million women a year who are identified with an adnexal mass, to 2 or 3 times that many as the monitoring happens. So when we've submitted a manuscript for publication and we're ready to launch, so we're very excited about that expansion to our portfolio and very important development. So.
Yeah. And you're also refreshing your commercial strategies. Tell me about that.
That's right. Well, this is something that's been ongoing for some time. The first most important part of that exercise was to really take a deep dive into each of our territories, understand where were we making money, and if we weren't making money, why? Was it a skill set issue? Was it a territory opportunity issue? Was it that we needed to have different relationships with larger physician groups in those markets? So that analysis has been ongoing. It was really important to have that all kind of put together before we moved to this much larger market opportunity for OverWatch. And I'm happy to say that we've completed that part of the process, and now we're really focused on growth going forward. And probably the most important thing we did was upskill our talent in the leadership and brought on Michelle.
Yeah, okay, well, let's talk to Michelle. So, and you were with Aspira first and came back.
Yes.
Talk about why you decided to do that. What's your role now?
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, I left in 2016 and was able to pursue some just incredible opportunities that were focused, outside of commercial sales leadership, and drove me into really product development, marketing, things like that, that really rounded out my experience. I've actually been in women's health diagnostics for about 15 years. So when I was looking at sort of the trajectory of my career, I knew that I wanted to stay in women's health.
What has changed in the industry and at the company in particular since 2016?
Yeah, I would say back in 2016, biomarker testing was really, I would say, new. It's become more and more standard. This opportunity presented itself in a way where it's like, okay, I knew I could come back, and I knew there was more that we could do. Moving forward, I would say that what hasn't changed is this novel assay, and then also with our new product development, as she was mentioning, with OverWatch, which will allow patients to essentially have a risk score to determine their probability of malignancy with ovarian cancer, which is critical. So I'm very excited to continue to expand that market and educate physicians around that.
And in your new role, what's your immediate focus, would you say?
Yeah, so there's really 3 different verticals that I'm focusing on here. Number 1 is obviously profitability. So we are using data to ensure that we are doing the correct targeting, and that we're also very closely aligned with our managed care division so that we can ensure that we have profitability. The next piece there that I think is very important is really focusing on some of these larger health systems and also large OBGYN groups. We know that the industry as a whole is becoming, I would say, grouped into some of these larger organizations. So working in alignment with them and some of their value-based care needs, I think is critical. Another piece of that that's important is looking at other laboratories that align with us strategically, and really having multipliers there and working with these other labs.
Lottie, tell me about your health dilemma.
Okay, so just to give a preface, my family, we're always concerned with ovarian cancer. It's always top of mind. My mother-in-law was diagnosed stage 4 ovarian cancer. She carries the BRCA, the BRCA2 gene, and unfortunately my husband also has the gene. My children both have the gene, so ovarian cancer is always top of mind. I actually lost a cousin to ovarian cancer at the age of 53. So about 15 years ago, I had a left oophorectomy. They took the left ovary out. Prior to that, I had several cystectomies. I kept getting recurring cysts and masses. They went several times, and finally the doctor said, listen, I think we just need to take the ovary. It appeared to be slightly suspicious, so just to be safe, they removed the ovary, and thankfully it came back benign. And more recently, I developed a mass on the right ovary. And of course, given my history and just the knowledge of ovarian cancer and the experience with it, we decided OverWatch would be the best choice for me at that time. The ultrasound findings were kind of indeterminate, so the doctor said, you know, I think this would be you're a great patient for this. So we did the testing. Thankfully, it came back with a low probability of malignancy, 99.5% negative predictive value. So to me, that's 99.5% certain that there's no risk of malignancy, nothing to be concerned with. So it just gives me peace of mind to know that I don't need to worry. Again, you know, I am getting closer to menopause, but I prefer to go through menopause naturally, not surgically. So the goal was to preserve the ovary.
Yeah, and Jane, this is the caliber of the people that we have on our team. So we're really proud to have Lottie, and we have a team now that is, again, supporting this organization, and first of all, has a lot of experience in women's health diagnostics, and most importantly, are very, very passionate about their jobs and bring so much to this industry.
Nicole, the Biden administration recently announced an initiative for more research into women's health. What do you think of that?
Well, it's very exciting to see additional attention, so I'm obviously very supportive of it. We need a radical change in the way that we fund research for women's health. There's no question about it. I'm hopeful that it will help us to shine a light on a number of other really important systemic challenges for innovation in women's health. Certainly research is part of it, but we have decades of research supporting our test. There are other things that we have to address and talk about if we want to continue to fund and develop new technologies for women's health. We have to find better ways to drive adoption, encourage adoption, and payer adoption, which is, you know, a real challenge for young companies trying to get coverage for their tests. So I'm excited to see the funding for the research, and I'm hopeful that it'll create some momentum behind additional areas that we need to take a hard look at.
Sounds like a good start.
It's a great start,
yeah.
Very encouraging. Yeah.
Nicole, looking ahead to 2024, what's ahead for Aspira?
Sure. So looking back just a little bit, you know, 2022 was all about right-sizing the business, getting our spending in line with the business need. 2023 has been all about the science, all about building out the portfolio and the team, building out the team. We've got a great team now. 2024 is going to be all about growth. So, you know, looking forward to next year, we've got the right people, we've got the right products. You know, we're ready to really take off. You know, there's a lot of hand-wringing about the market, but I happen to know that there's a lot of capital out there looking to be deployed for companies like Aspira. I have to assume some of these investors either have ovaries or love people with ovaries, so I'd encourage them to go back and take a look at the company. This is not a charity case. We have you know, a very, very compelling business case. We have unique technology that no one else has. And we're really poised for a great 24.
Nicole, thank you so much. Great to see you. Nice to meet you, Michelle and Lottie. Thanks so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.